It's been a week or two since we thanked all of the new supporters on Patreon. So let's thank some new supporters on Patreon. So thank you massively to Johan Persson, Sean Butler, Bjorn Christensen, something. It doesn't scroll around far enough on my phone. I'll thank you again because I can't do your name in full. We'll come back to you. Gonçalo Candies. Apologies if I'm saying these names wrong. Ian Stedman, Chris Champion. Thank you to all of you. You are all brilliant. And you should now all find your names, those of you around at $5 or above, on the end credits for the thing. If you want to get involved in the Patreon as well, you can do that at patreon.com/Lollujo. Any support is massively appreciated. And just thank you. You're all a bunch of heroes who allow me to keep doing this as a job, which is crazy. Hello and welcome to Club 2, Part 13 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we're away against Whitehawk and then at home against Hungerford, both in the Vanarama National League South. Since you were last with me, we've had a pretty horrid run of form, really. We had 4 wins in a row, which has kind of saved our promotion push, because we then went straight into 3 defeats on the bounce, and we've just rescued it back again with a win against Poole in our last game. And despite only 1 win in 4 and 3 defeats in those last 4 games, we find ourselves still in the playoff picture, still only 2 points off of top of the table Aldershot. There's only 5 points separating first from 7th with 12 games to go. This is the tightest we've seen any division we've played in Non-League to Legend so far this year. And we need to capitalise it. And we need to capitalise on it by winning these 2 games that we've got today. So fingers crossed, that's what we're about to go and do. Please cross your fingers. I really would like to get promoted this time. So this is the team that we're putting out there today. We've got Biddle in goal, a back four of Osborne, Stone, Allen and Chambers, with Rowe, Ovenden, Stevens and Henchcliffe in midfield, and then Robles and Rittenberg up front. We're playing them the other way around. We've done it. This is what we did in the last game. After the little run of defeats and doing them that way around, they both stopped scoring. So we just swapped them around to see what would happen. And they both played much better. Rittenberg got the winner, I think. He certainly scored. So we're going to continue playing them that way around for today and see how they get on. If it's a complete disaster, we'll swap them back again or bring Danny Mills into the team. At least we've got options now, which it's nice. This is the first time in this series this year that we've got into this stage of the season having options to change things around a bit. We have got game-changing players in the club. We've got game changers on the bench. We should be able to do this year. But I will change my tune massively if we lose both the games on this episode, especially if results elsewhere go against us, because we could go from being just 2 points away from top of the league and all looking positive to like 8 points away from top of the league, not even in the playoff pictures. In the space of 2 games, it's that tight at the top. Equally, if we win both of these games, we could even find ourselves top of the league in about 10-15 minutes time, and that would be crazy too. But that's not the start we were hoping for. 25 minutes in, we've gone 1-0 down, and I don't know where are Whitehawk in the league. I think they're hovering just outside the playoffs. I wouldn't mind betting that a victory against us today would push them into the playoffs, if not above us. Let's have a look at the live league table, and it comes back on the screen in a second. So it doesn't put them above us or into the playoffs. I'm just talking nonsense. It would, however, leave us 4 points behind top of the table, haven't. And that's not a situation we want to be in. It looks like Aldershot are somehow messing up again, and we really need to be capitalising this. Oh, there you go. Aldershot have gone ahead in their game, and they're now 5 points ahead of us. Automatic promotion. We can see it drifting away from us before our eyes. What kind of kickoff was that? That was just weird. This front 2 isn't working at all this way round, and not only that, but Lewis Robles is injured. I'm giving them until the hour mark, and then Danny Mills is coming on and Rittenberg's going to defensive forward. And so unless we score from this move, that's the change that's going to happen. So Stevens plays it forward to no one in particular. I mean, Rittenberg's trying to chase, but he's just... It's weird. You play him as defensive forward and he chases that all day long. I guess he's playing to his instructions. You play him as a poacher and he doesn't get there. But he is in here and misses. So easy decision to make. We swap those 2 over and we bring Danny Mills on with half an hour to go. And we hope that that combination of changes leads to us grabbing at least an equaliser. We can't go back to... I mean, this will be 4 defeats in 5 games in the final third of the season. And that's not promotion form. We were looking so good a day or 2 ago. And now all of a sudden, the wheels are coming off again. And all that talk of, I've got game changers. Well, if we don't change the games now, Kev, it doesn't matter who you've got knocking about the place. We've got Jack Compton still knocking around. Perhaps it's time for him to come back in the team. Although he's still sulking, so he's probably not the man. But he is, both him and Doughty are both supposedly better than anyone else who's currently on the pitch. And we don't even put either of them on the bench at the moment. But maybe we turn to one of them. Maybe we switch things up a little bit. Maybe this tactic's not working. There you go. We'll try a different right back. I mean, that's got to be the answer. I mean, we are still in the playoffs as it stands, but as we've learnt from back in the borough so far, and if you're not up to date on back in the borough, fingers in ears for a minute, spoilers, we don't like the playoffs, so we don't want to be in the playoffs. We want this automatic. The playoffs at this level are horrific because it's 6 teams rather than 4. They're one leg, and if you finish lower in the league table than your opponent, you have one leg and it's away from home, and if you lose it, you're out. So it's finishing 6th or 7th is just a disaster because you've got to navigate 2 away games, well 3 away games because even the final is played against. It's at the home. I believe the final was at the home ground of the highest placed team. So if we finish 6th or 7th, we then have to win 3 away games on the bounce against teams who finished above us in the league to get promoted, and that's just not realistic. Because we can't beat Whitehawk, who are below us. And now we've got to come and play Hungerford, who are now above us. Oh, it's all going wrong again. Won't somebody give me a better job? Well, that has been one of the longest mid-season gaps between matches in the history of the world. While that's been going on, we've had our youth intake for the year. Don't worry, those of you who don't like the Patreon renaming. This year they were all rubbish. The best of the bunch being, I guess, this guy, Gary Davis, who's a winger who's not very good, so he's never going to get a chance in my team. So we're not renaming any of them this year. I'm not inflicting that on any of my patrons. I can't say that word. Any of my patrons. We're also not playing Hungerford like we said we were. That game was called off because of a waterlogged pitch. We took the opportunity to play a friendly against local side Odd Down just to try and get some confidence back into the team. And some match fitness. The likes of Robles and Mills were not close to match fit. Robles because he'd had a knock, Mills because he hadn't played for a while. So got a little bit of match fitness in him. Not as much confidence as I would have liked. Only beating them 3-1, but hopefully we can now go into a game against Gloucester and pick up a win. It is like the playoffs have started early though, because our next 2, we've just played Whitehawk. Now we've got to play Gloucester and then Hungerford. So the situation at the top of the league has changed drastically. We now find ourselves, as we speculated we might, 8 points off the top of the league. What a difference one game makes. We have got a game in hand, but we're not getting automatic promotion now. And we've got to put all of our focus into trying to finish in that top 3. We need 2nd or 3rd to have any chance of navigating the playoffs correctly. So this is the team we're putting out there today. It's largely the same team. I've just swapped Rittenberg and Robles over up front, just to get them the right way round. As you can see, we have managed to get some match fitness back into Robles. The friendly midweek might have backfired on me a little bit because actual conditioning isn't great for everybody. I may have forgotten to rest them after the friendly like I normally would between a midweek game. Yes, we're in poor form, but we're going to win this match, don't you worry. Presumably, this is a local derby of some kind. Gloucester's quite close to Bath, isn't it? They're both down that way. So I imagine that, I don't know if this is the local derby or just a local derby, but either way, it's a team who are just down the road. We've not had to travel very far, but what we do need to do is pick up a win, because if we make it 5 defeats out of 6, that's certainly not playoff form, that's getting sacked form. And goodness me, if we're not 1-0 down early on in the game, again, we're clinging on to a playoff position at the moment by the skin of our teeth, purely based on the fact that everyone else is being really inconsistent. We're the only team who are offering any kind of consistency at the moment, and unfortunately, it's consistent defeats. We were challenging for the title a month ago. And I mean, really, we were challenging for the title at the start of the episode. Yeah, we'd lost a lot of games, but because everyone else was doing it too, we were still in touching distance of it. Now, I mean, look at that. We're down to 9th place. We've plummeted out of the playoffs altogether, down to 9th place. I mean, this might just be the wake-up call that we need. But if we don't get in the playoffs this year, I think I'm probably going to get sacked. It's going to be a situation like Alfreton again, where they just won't renew my contract. And Rittenberg has missed an absolute sitter. He missed it by a mile. That man has scored 23 goals for us this season and has just missed a chance on a plate to put us at 1-1. And I'm no longer even thinking in terms of, right, let's get in the playoffs. I'm now thinking, let's save my pesky job. I mean, how has it come to this? I thought this was going to be this. I genuinely thought the plan for this season was going to be in the top 3 or 4, get to Christmas, someone in a league above notices me and offers me a job. Because with Nuneaton in back in the borough, I'm getting job offers from conference national teams all the time. I think the Alfreton job, and it's similar to how non-Leeds Legend was last year, although we didn't get sacked from Alfreton because we were teetering on the brink, I think that's standing against me when it comes to my reputation, and no one's interested. And if I end up failing at a second club, which I've never done before, I mean, we've never started non-Leeds Legend with a failure. If we start it with 2 failures, it starts to get really, really, really hard to start moving in the right direction. FM18 is so very difficult this year. It's ridiculous. I'm wondering at what point do we just go for the 4-3-1-2? We've messed around with this 4-4-2 long enough. It doesn't work. We don't have the players for it. I'd love to be able to do it, but we don't have an attacking mid. Well, we do. We have Doty, whatever his name is, but he's not been any good for a year and a half for us. I know we've not been playing him in his position, but still. But 2-0 down to 9th place. Whitehawk are below us, only 2 points away. We could. I mean, by the time the next episode comes around, we could be in the bottom half of the table. And I don't think I'll survive that. I think I'll get fired if we fall down there. The board are expecting promotion this year. The media predicted a 2nd place finish. This is possibly my greatest ever failure in Football Manager this season with Bath. It is a total disaster. Right. I don't even know how we can begin to try and get back into this game. All that talk of game changers and nonsense like that in the first half of the episode, that's all gone. We've had 2 shots, neither of them are on target. We can't get the ball. And we don't have... Yeah, we've got interchangeable players in every position, but there's no one waiting in the wings who's better than what we've got. And there's nobody who can do anything different to what we've got in the team at the moment. So we can bring Ovenden on for Clutton, and he'll do the same job Clutton was doing in there, and that wasn't working. Oh, dear me. Right. 20 minutes to salvage something from this game, salvage something from this episode. The job centre. I feel the job centre coming on. I mean, after 2 failures in the bottom playable leagues in England, I wonder if we'll even get offered a job in England. We were very close to... I mean, we've got Wales loaded. We've got Ireland and Northern Ireland loaded. We might end up having to move a little bit further afield, work with an even smaller budget, and try and scramble our way back up from one of those leagues. Danny Mills has got 1 back, 18 minutes to go. Will Danny Mills be able to drag us back into the promotion hunt and stop me being such a negative Nelly? Or, and this is probably more likely, is he going to bang his head and have to go off injured in a minute? Because we all know that's how Danny Mills rolls. That's the reason he's gone from being first name on the team sheet a year and a bit ago, or even a year ago, to, yeah, we try to avoid relying on him too much because you never know when he's going to go off with a head injury. Plus Rittenberg came in and was good, although you wouldn't know it from what you've seen of him in this episode. He's been absolutely absent for both matches. And... we've got no one in midfield pressing out and trying to get to those clearances. And there's no point clearing it. We clear it and then we give the ball straight back to them. Although we have won it back in midfield now. We've got about a minute. Rowe running down the left-hand side. Can he beat his man? Of course he can't. Oh, but he does get a crossing anyway, and it's with Rittenberg. Back to Stevens. Ovenden. Mills is lurking. Ovenden has a shot from way out. And there's 4 minutes of added time, but they've got a corner. Can we push and grab an equaliser? I think an equaliser at this stage could be a massive morale booster for the club and give us the opportunity to push on over the next few games. Right, Tim, sweeping cross over to Rowe, who has a shot when he probably should have squared it to Rittenberg. And our decision-making is leaving a lot to be desired at the moment. Ovenden plays it. I thought he was playing it into Mills, but I suspect that was probably a shot as well, and that was probably going to be our last opportunity. A good pass to Danny Mills there, and it's 2-2. As it is, we're going to lose the match unless we do something from this move. It's Mills, very, very deep though, and Rittenberg's even further behind him. But O'Tim can't get there because the pass was too heavy, but he does cross. Oh, that close to an equaliser. Their keeper came out and took it off the toe of Rittenberg, and that's got to be that now. We've had more chances in injury time in this game than we had in the 90 minutes. But it's not enough. We've fallen out of the playoff picture. Everyone's fired up, but who cares? It's too late to be fired up. We've given ourselves an incredible task at this point. This is a problem. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager content, and we will be back to 4 o'clock tomorrow. I had to do it this way around because I realised I'd spoiled the back in the borough bit earlier on, so that's why we swapped them around today. We'll be back in the 4 o'clock slot with Non-League Legend tomorrow, though. And thank you very much for watching.